Recipe for rustic bread pudding. This is an uncomplicated yet delectable recipe for rustic bread pudding that's easy to make. Any form of stale bread will do. Fantastic for breakfast or dessert. The classic comfort food dessert is bread pudding, and it's also really simple to make. I'm offering a pretty straightforward recipe for rustic bread pudding today. It's the ideal place to start, and you may add other components based on your personal preferences. Recipe advice for rustic bread pudding. Any type of bread can be utilized, although a thick or old loaf works best. I used a little under half a loaf of my rustic skillet bread for this bread pudding recipe. The pudding bakes more uniformly, and the curdling of the eggs is avoided thanks to the water bath. In order to determine whether the water bath was required, I performed some studies. Some bakers claim you don't need the water bath if your bread and milk mixture is wet, nearly soupy. Other bakers say that if you don't use a water bath, the bread pudding will be damaged. This blog's recipe for bread pudding omits the water bath by using 2 different oven settings. I personally never use anything other than the water bath since I don't want to take a chance at a catastrophe. I discovered that my 12-inch pan fit the right quantity of water and supported my ruffled pie dish wonderfully. A 9x13 dish can be used for the water bath if you're using an 8x8 square baking dish. This rustic bread pudding may be baked for anywhere between 55 and 70 minutes. In a convection oven, it bakes more quickly. Watch it attentively after 50 minutes. Cover the top with a piece of foil if it starts to brown too much. When the pudding is firm to the touch and a knife placed in the center of it comes out clean, it is finished. Use less bread to make the pudding more custard-like. Keep to the 6 cups if you like more bread than custard. Additions to delicious rustic bread pudding. This recipe for rustic bread pudding is pretty straightforward. Most folks enjoy their bread pudding slightly dressed up. The following ingredients will add more taste and texture. Raisins, cranberries, diced pears or apples, walnuts, pecans, sour cherries, figs or dates, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 nutmeg teaspoon. After the milk, butter, and vanilla, these ingredients are added. Recipe for rustic bread pudding. This is an uncomplicated yet delectable recipe for rustic bread pudding that's easy to make. Any form of stale bread will do. Fantastic for breakfast or dessert. Ingredients: 6 to 8 cups of thick bread, cut into cubes, 4 eggs, 50 g of sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, melted butter, 2 teaspoons, 2 mugs of whole milk. Instructions: set oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Bread should be cut into bite-sized bits. Butter a 9-inch pie pan or an 8x8-inch square pan very lightly. Insert the prepared pan with the bread cubes. Place aside. Eggs and sugar should be combined in a mixing basin or bowl of a stand mixer. Beat vigorously for 1 minute. Add milk, butter, and vanilla. Repeat on high for 2 minutes. Place a larger oven-safe container over the baking dish containing the bread. Fill the baking dish with water until it is approximately half full. Over the bread cubes, pour the egg mixture. Press the bread cubes into the egg mixture using a spatula. 15 minutes should pass for the bread can absorb the egg and milk mixture. Your pans should be in the oven. For 55 to 70 minutes, bake. The center of the bread should feel set when touched, and it should be golden. Cool a little. Warm pudding can be dusted with powdered sugar or served with whipped cream. Cover securely and put in the refrigerator to store.